upside down and inside out. About to take your education on a brand new route. Because I'm Mr. Morris and I'm here to say that it's time to teach math in a brand new way. Because if you think that your math ain't great, you're starting to hate, feel you can't relate. Well, if you know fool, be sure to stay tuned. There's a new way of learning flows into you, yeah.
Hello, everyone. This is Math Made Simple. I'm your host, Chris Morris. Thanks for joining the program today. Today, we have an interesting topic that is very useful, in my opinion, not just for grades 2nd or 5th or 8th or even 9th. I think this topic is foundationally, pivotally, if that's a word, important for almost every kid out there, because more so than not, no matter where I look, students are struggling in the United States in particular with fractions. Okay, fractions is an issue. I can't tell you how many times teaching Algebra 1 and Algebra 2, kids say, well, I'm not so good with fractions. I never got a handle on fractions. Or maybe you're in 5th grade and you feel like, well, the one thing I wasn't good at is fractions. Maybe the curriculum's just, they're going too quickly through it. I don't know what it is, y'all, but we're going to get that clear today. So today's topic is identifying equivalent fractions. We're starting with the basics, and this video is going to be one of my more impactful videos, I believe, because we're going to just really keep it simple. This is called Math Made Simple. We're going to keep it simple. So if you take a look right here, I have pulled up for you an example. You can find this pretty much anywhere on the internet. Lots of different examples of things that are cut up into different pieces. Let me get my face out of there for a second. Okay, so just take a look at this real quick, and you'll see the instructions. It says write in the numerators and the denominators of the equivalent fractions shown. Okay, so if you look right here, you need to emphasize this with your learner. If you're a parent, a homeschool parent, or even a teacher, you need to make sure you emphasize the fact that fractions are simply parts of a whole. Parts of a whole. Okay, that's all a fraction is. If you're trying to get them to get a basic understanding of what a fraction is, it's a part over a whole. So an entire amount of pizza would be all of the pizza, 100% of the pizza. It would be all the slices available that encompass the entire pizza. If you look at a standard large pizza at your major chain restaurants, Pizza Hut, Domino's, whatever, they're probably cutting that thing up into 8 slices. So if I were to eat all 8 out of the 8 slices, I've eaten one whole pizza. That's why oftentimes when you see 8 over 8 or 5 over 5 or 3, excuse me, that's not 3, is it? 3 over 3 listed on paper, it always equals 1, because it means one entire of the thing that you're talking about. It could be a pizza. It could be a piece of pie. It could be so many things. Anything that's cut up into pieces, well, we could call it a fraction because it is a part over a whole. So going back to this example, if you take a look right here, you see an example given to you where you have a whole, we'll just call them pizzas. I like pizzas, so I'm going to call them pizzas. You have a whole pizza right here, and it's cut up into, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 slices. So that's why right here you see a 4 put in the denominator. Remember, the 4 or the denominator represents all of the pieces. All of the pieces needs to go at the bottom of your fraction. The part that's colored in, this represents what somebody would eat, right? So I'm going to highlight that in red right there. Let's say you ate one of those pieces out of the pizza that's cut up into 4 pieces. That's one slice out of the 4 that were available. So that's what we call the fraction 1 over 4. It's 1 out of the total. Same thing if you look over here. You see another pizza. This is more like a large pizza where it's cut up into 8 slices. You can have your young learner count how many pieces total just to make sure you're right. Notice there are 8 total slices. So we put that in the denominator. That's the bottom number. But how many pieces are shaded green? Those represent how many maybe you got to eat for lunch. Well, I see 1 right here, and then I see another 2 right there. So 2 out of the 8 available are eaten right here. So that's why the fraction here would be 2 over 8. But notice how they say equals. There's an equal sign right there. Okay? You see an equal sign. Well, it's equal. And it's hard to get kids to understand why fractions are equal until you look at a picture, in my opinion. That's the best way for kids to get the initial understanding. So if you notice the same amount, I want you to emphasize amount. The same amount of the pizza is really shaded in no matter which one you're looking at. We'll call this one pizza A, okay, and we'll call this one pizza B. If you take a look at pizza A, it's only one piece, yet it's a fairly large piece, right? If you look at part B, pizza B, there are 2 pieces, but the 2 pieces that they give you in part B are about the same amount, right, as there is in part A. I could cut up part A into more pieces and it would look a lot like, as you see, part B here. So this is why and this is it's so important that you emphasize this, but this is why kids need to this is where they need to start, I should say. Okay, that's why 1 out of 4 is the same as 2 out of 8. You need to emphasize amount when it comes to equivalent fractions and really beginning to build the understanding in your young learner. So let's look at number 2 real quick and we'll move along. If you see right here, you see a yellow pizza. I'm going to stick with pizzas, right? We're going to call this pizza A once again. We'll call this pizza B, looking at problem 2, folks. Okay, and so how many total pieces do you see? How many in all? All right, not the yellow ones, but the yellow and the white together. Hopefully you notice that there are 6 total pieces in all. And then you're going to say, okay, well, how many of those 6 pieces are colored in yellow? So we're going to count, right? We're going to, oh, 1, oh, look, 2, oh, look, oh, 3. There are 3, so that's part, right? So we can see that 3 slices are colored in yellow, but there were 6 total slices available. If you compare that with the pizza B on the right side, you'll see that there was only 2 slices and only 1 was shaded in. But clearly, this is the same amount. 1 slice of a 2-slice pizza turns out is the same amount of pizza as 3 slices out of a 6-slice pizza. Okay? So if they can see the visual, then all of a sudden it's not a big mystery. They can start to make the connection of, oh, 3 over 6 is the same thing as 1 over 2, right? It is the same thing as 1 over 2. And just while you're at it, take a look at this little quick trick. As long as I can divide the numerator, the top number, and the bottom number by the same amount, you can reduce it. That's another skill. If you're like in about 6th grade, you're going to want to start doing that. Both 3 and 6, they can be divided by 3, right? So if I divided 3 by 3, I would get 1. If I divided 6 by 3, I would get 2. So it's a nice good segue into the concept of reducing as well. Okay, so if you can scroll down here, you can kind of look all throughout this document. There's lots of activities and you can find these online. I would just Google identify equivalent fractions and you can let them start to build that understanding. Okay, so that's one activity. Here's another one I found that's pretty good and I want y'all to take a look at it. It says identify equivalent fractions, and this is one where you basically have, let me see if I can zoom out just a little bit here so you can see it a little better. There you go. Maybe that's too much. Let's zoom in a little more. So right here, hopefully they can really emphasize seeing how much of the pizza is shaded. Okay, that's how I would word that to someone. How much of the pizza is shaded, and which ones are equal to one another. All right. So if you look right here, it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like there's about 10 total pieces. Make sure that they can see that. And out of the 10, how many are shaded? Looks like there are 5 that are shaded. All right, so the question says, can you match or draw a line, connect? Which one of those pictures looks like the same amount of the pizza has been shaded? Well, if you look at this first one here, that looks like a little too much has been shaded of the pizza. If you look over here, this one looks a little bit too little of the pizza that's been shaded. Think of it like, oh, my porridge is too hot, my porridge is too cold, Goldilocks. But this one down here, ding, 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 ding. This is my star, okay? This one looks like the closest match, right? The same amount of the pizza was shaded in, the same amount. So as long as it's the same amount, you can see, okay, 2 out of 4 looks like that's the same fraction, now that we see the visual evidence, as 5 out of 10. It's both essentially half of the pizza, right? By the way, 1 over 2 would also be equal to it. And so you can do several like this where you just have them match it, and it's a nice activity. So you're doing 2 things with this. You're basically you're talking about what a fraction is. You're realizing a fraction is part over a whole. And so just to make sure, some people are visual, so we're going to do this. Just to make sure you got part over whole, or you could say part over total. All right, I don't know if it's a little blurry, so there you go. That is basically what you're starting with. And I do not suggest that you try to get them to match equivalent fractions until they get a good, nice grasp on that. You can look at part over whole when it comes to pictures and shading. I would suggest starting there. You could also do it with number lines, and I might do that on another video. But I hope this helped bring some clarity for maybe parents who are feeling a little overwhelmed with all the responsibilities that come with homeschooling your child. And then as they move up in grades, maybe you weren't a math person and you need a little bit of assistance or some resources or some ways of saying things that bring clarity for your kid so that they can really be set up for success. That's the point of all this. So anyway, if you like this video, go ahead and like, subscribe, and you just check out the future ones that we put out each week. And while you're at it, here's a link to my website, morrismodel.com. We have one-on-one tutoring sessions available, algebra made simple, math made simple, 10-week courses that are really good to give kids good foundations at an age-appropriate level. And we've also unveiled our latest. It's called Money Made Simple. It's an 8-week course for teens, help you really make one of the better investments you can make, giving your kids good ideas as far as what and how to manage money, what value is and how to increase, your value in the eyes of others, set your price where it needs to be so they can be successful and manage growth. We'd cover all kinds of topics, but I'll just leave it at that. All right. I'll catch you all on the next one. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you soon. Peace.
Upside down and inside out, about to take your education on a brand new route. Because I'm Mr. Morris and I'm here to say that it's time to teach math in a brand new way. Because if you think that your math ain't great, you're starting to hate, feel you can't relate. Well, if you're no fool, be sure to stay tuned. There's a new way of learning flows into you, yeah.